Hi folks, welcome to Indian Geography. We shall now discuss agriculture and its basics. Agriculture, as we can see, is a primary activity because it involves extraction and production of natural resources. Agriculture involves growing of vegetables, fruits, flowers and crops. But it is not only the primary activities which are required for the transformation of a plant into a finished product. Other than primary activities, we also have secondary activities, which are the activities which are related to the processing of the natural resources extracted during primary activities. For example, let us consider primary activity to be agriculture, where we get wheat as the output. Now this wheat is first converted into wheat flour in a flouring mill and then it is utilized to make bread. Thus the processing of the wheat would be considered as a secondary activity. Now once the secondary activities are over, we have tertiary activities which involve services, which includes trade. For example, when this bread is produced in the bakery, it cannot be utilized by end customers unless it is transported and trade happens. Advertising is also an important part in making a finished product reach its end customer. Services like banking also come under tertiary activities. So by this we should understand that primary activities like agriculture are then supported by secondary activities which involve processing and also by tertiary activities which involve services. Now both of these activities, secondary and tertiary, support the primary activity which is agriculture in the case of India as well as the world. 50% of world's population is involved in agricultural activities, whereas in India it is about 65% of Indian population which is dependent on agriculture. And it is for this reason that India is an agricultural country, with its economy resting upon agriculture to a large extent. Now the factors which are favorable for agriculture are topography of soil and climate. This is a direct question as far as our exams are concerned. Arable land. The land on which crops are grown is called arable land. That is the land on which agriculture can be practiced. Now this is a world map which shows arable land and these different colors denote the percentage of arable land out of the total land area of the country. We can see here in this color scheme that purple color in this map is representing those areas where the arable land is greater than 40% of the land area of the country. And this is the case with India as well as some of the very few countries in Europe. Thus in India we have large percentage of our total land as arable land. That is the land where crops are grown and is suitable for agriculture. If we see blue color in the map, these are areas where the percentage is between 30% to 39%. If we talk about these green areas, the percentage is between 20% to 29%. For these light green areas in South America, in South Africa and in China, the percentage is about 10 to 14%. And the areas having least percentage of arable land is that in Australia, Russia and this part of South America. After having understood the distribution of arable land in terms of percentage across the entire world, let us now see where exactly this arable land exists on the world map. If we see India, the northern Indian plains and this corridor where we have rivers like Chambal which flow along the Aravallis and also this region along the western Ghats of India are all regions where we have the land on which crops are sown, that is arable land. If we move towards Europe, we will see a large chunk of these countries having land suitable for agriculture. Similarly, arable land exists in patches in Africa. If we talk about countries like Canada, there is a large area which has no arable land. The same is the case with Russia and China. But these coastal regions of China have a lot of possibility in terms of agriculture as the land here is arable. Same is the case with these coastal regions of Australia where a lot of farming is practiced, especially mixed farming. We shall learn about different types of farming in a short while from now. Apart from this, these regions of South America and these regions of USA are suitable for agriculture. Now having discussed that agriculture is a primary activity and also after understanding the distribution of arable land across the entire world, we shall now understand what agriculture actually means. It is the science and art of cultivation on the soil, raising crops and rearing livestock. Another important term that can be asked in our exam is sericulture. Sericulture is the commercial rearing of silkworms. So we need to remember here that sericulture is associated with silkworms. This much is enough as far as our exams are concerned. After sericulture, we have pisciculture, which means breeding of fish in tanks and ponds which have been constructed especially for this purpose. Now questions have been framed in our exam on the basis of viticulture as well, which refers to cultivation of grapes. And at last we have horticulture, which refers to growing of vegetables, fruits and flowers for commercial use. This means that the flowers that we grow in our garden do not fall under the category of horticulture because they are not for commercial use. So just to revise the basics of agriculture, we need to understand that agriculture involves not only raising of crops but also rearing livestock. Sericulture is related to silkworms, pisciculture is related to fishes and the breeding of fishes to be precise, and this breeding takes place in tanks and ponds which are constructed for this very purpose. Viticulture is associated with grapes and horticulture is associated with vegetables, fruits and flowers. We shall now discuss farm system, which involves certain inputs which can be human inputs as well as physical inputs. It also involves certain processes or operations which can be plowing, sowing, irrigation, weeding, harvesting, and it can also involve certain outputs which are usually crops. We shall now use this diagram to understand farm system in a much greater detail. Everything that is marked red represents human inputs. So the machinery that is used in the farms is human input. The labor that is put in by human beings is also human input. Seeds and manure which are put to the field are also human inputs. Apart from this, we have physical inputs which have been written in blue color. Sunshine, temperature, rainfall, all these are physical inputs. So let us see how the entire process takes place. This, as we can see, is a crop which is ready to get harvested. Now harvesting, as we've already discussed, is one of the processes or operations which are carried out in farming system. The harvested crop is then stored. You can see here this is a godown where storage of the harvested crop takes place. This storage also finds its place in the human inputs category. Now the harvested crop that is stored here is utilized in two ways. One, it is sent to mandis or markets where these are sold for human consumption. And a part of these harvested crops are purchased for feeding animals whose excreta is then used as manure and is added to soil. Soil is one of the physical inputs, as we can see here, it is marked in blue. And then after putting in manure in the soil so as to increase its fertility, and also the seeds as one of the human inputs, we have these processes of plowing, sowing, irrigation, weeding, harvesting, after which we get crop as our final output. Thus we can clearly understand now that these are inputs, processes and outputs which constitute the entire farm system. With this, we've learnt all about agriculture and its basics. Thanks for watching. Happy learning.